What do you feel about, actually, I present this to both of you.
Yeah.
Because, we always talk about like Black excellence and Black love. And so I'm always, I'm always uncertain with how I sit with those terms, because I think we talked about this on another podcast. I feel like when you put Black in front of something, you're making it like subpar of that thing. But, as a romance novelist who writes about love, as a happily married woman, which I love.
Why, thank you. Look, that's a whole journey. There's a book in me too. There's a book in every woman, right?
So how does Black love differ from love?
Wow. You know what? You're the guest. Guest goes first. Let's do that.
That was a nice sleight of hand there.
Yeah.
I think you can either see the appellation of Black as a distinction or an explanation. For some, they use it to distinguish one characteristic of love from, or one experience of love from others. And that is often pejorative. That's often intended to diminish what it means. Mm-hmm. Or it can be an example of how, in a culturally specific way, there are challenges that have to be navigated and there are successes that are achieved that are real. And that doesn't diminish anyone else's experience of love, but it does say, we know that there's a path you have to take that is different because of who you are, that there are mutable characteristics to Blackness, especially in America, that mean when you make decisions about who you are and who you love and how you express that love, you are judged, but you are also enriched. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing. It's when we decide that there is a value judgment to Blackness. That's when we get into trouble. I think of it as a qualitative description, not a evaluative judgment that says it's better or worse than something else. But it is important. As a woman, I experience the world differently than a man. And as a Black woman, I experience the world differently. So our responsibility is not to allow the descriptor to change how we understand ourselves. It is just another marker. It is another way of giving us insight and giving us context, but it is not giving us diminution and saying that we are less than because of what we experience.
Mm-hmm. I think the word I'll pick up on is the context, because, if I come home, my husband knows exactly what type of day I've had. I have not seen anybody in my demographic, meaning my age group, who's also a Black woman. So he understands that when I come home, if I want to talk to someone who's in my age group that is even of color at all, man or woman, he's the one. He understands, that the day that I've had, he doesn't need to kind of ask me questions about, what it's like to be a Black woman. He knows exactly that who I am in the context of every single thing that I do.
All communities have shorthand.
Yeah.
If you're Southern, we have a shorthand.
Yeah.
If you are of a certain religious persuasion. So every community has a shorthand. That shorthand doesn't mean that you are castigating or somehow characterizing some other community as bad. It's just acknowledging the specific experiences that you have. And what I want for everyone is to be able to understand it's perfectly okay. When I write romance and have Black women on the cover, what then creates one of the dynamics I ran into is that I was discounted because I wasn't culturally specific enough. Mm. So if you read my books, there's no experience that is often attributed to the stereotypic Black experience that you will find in my work. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't intentional. It was that my lived experience, the way I write. I'm writing about ethnobotany. There aren't a whole lot of ethnobotanists anyway.
Right.
Mine is Black. And it was important to me that we had Black characters having universal experiences, because part of how we have to construct society is that our experiences are considered just as valid and not singular, that we don't exist in one person's imagination and one person's experience. Sure. Love is the same thing. Black love contains multitude, and it has different ways of being experienced that are culturally relatable, even if one person's living in the North, the other person's living in the South, but you say some things about Black love and it doesn't matter where you are, you know exactly what you're talking about. That shorthand helps us connect, but it doesn't exclude anyone else from having similar experiences. It simply says, we don't have to talk about which piece we're thinking about, we can get to the next part of the story.
Yeah, you know what? This is a better example I have. I feel like I need to kind of
Okay.
I mean, I was like,
Take two?
Yeah, I need to take two. Okay. But you know what? So parents are getting older. And so understanding where your parent fits in and who's going to kind of take care of them. Are they going to go to a home? Are they going to be at home with you? So we're going through that in my family. And I have a lot of girlfriends who are going through that. So we're talking about Black love in a different way, in a kind of a familial relationship, which is just as important and feeds into your books also. And so understanding what someone said to me yesterday on the phone, she said, well, you know how Black folks do. We do not want to put our Black aunts, parents, sisters in nursing homes. Like that is not our first go-to.